Suspense. Expect the unexpected by Vinka Nayak. The suspicious wife. Payal had been married for 12 years now. She had married for love. Samir had been a very doting husband in the beginning, but now, after 12 years and 2 kids, Payal found him a changed man. He had suddenly become busy, spending more time at work than home. When at home, he preferred the television to her company. They hardly made love anymore. He seemed to be tired most of the times. He had become aloof and secretive. He did not share anything with Payal anymore. Slowly, Payal grew suspicious about her husband's changed behavior. She suspected another woman in his life. She started checking his pockets for clues. Once she had smelt a whiff of lady's perfume on her husband, and it was surely not hers. This added to her suspicions. She decided to get her husband investigated and hired a private eye, Simran, for the job. Simran was a gorgeous woman. She was tall, had a great body, and big brown almond-shaped eyes. Payal was an attractive woman too. She did not have the perfect body, but a face to die for. She was fair and her skin radiated youth. Her eyes had a spark of their own. They twinkled mischievously every now and then, adding an irresistible charm to her face. She had perfect white teeth and $1,000,000 smile. Dimples appeared on both her cheeks whenever she smiled. But of late, she did not have many reasons to smile. Her husband had been giving her sleepless nights. It worried her that all the stress would bring on the lines and wrinkles she dreaded so much. Simran, I want you to keep an eye on my husband. I suspect infidelity. Though I'm not too sure, I want a detailed report on every minute spent by him, about the people he meets and whether or not his so-called untimely business meetings are for real. The bottom line is that I need to know whether or not there is another woman in his life, and in case there is one, get me all her details. She smiled tightly. Sure, that's my job, Simran smiled back. She seemed to have gauged Payal's desperation. Payal was a bit disappointed to see dimples flash on Simran's cheeks as she smiled. As if her perfect body had not been enough, she thought grudgingly. Simran's husband was a good friend of Payal. He had strongly recommended his wife. Ironically, he himself was having an extramarital affair of which his wife was blissfully unaware. Payal wondered why any man in his right mind would cheat on such a thing of beauty. Guess men were born disloyal, she thought. Simran reported to her on a daily basis. She followed Samir like a shadow, kept an eye on each of his moves. The man was outrageously handsome. It was hard to blame the other woman. Payal's beauty was no match for his looks. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. But there was no other woman, according to Simran. Payal, I guess you are mistaken. Your husband seems to be a workaholic. He has his nose dug into work all the time. Had there been another woman in his life, she would have shown up by now. His work seems to be the culprit. He has no time or interest in other women. Either he truly loves you or maybe he is not straight. Payal laughed at Simran's last comment. Her husband was perfectly straight. At least she could vouch for that. She realized that she had been worrying about nothing. In the meanwhile, Samir's behavior gradually started changing again. He started coming home early, spending more time with Payal and the kids. He started behaving normally again, He was once again the Samir she had fallen for, charming and attentive. One evening, Samir surprised her with red roses. "These are for my lovely wife. I know I haven't been a great husband for a while. I'd been too busy with work, but I'm so glad that I have an understanding wife like you who stood by me like a rock. Thank you so much, darling." Payal had been feeling guilty about suspecting her husband. On receiving the flowers, her guilt doubled up. She felt like a fool for not having trusted her husband enough. She burst into tears. "What is the matter, dear?" Samir asked with concern in his voice. "I'm sorry, Samir, I've something to confess." "What is it, honey?" he asked tenderly. Payal blurted out everything about not trusting him, suspecting him of having an affair, and hiring a private eye to watch him. Once she had confessed it all, she felt relieved. Samir was silent for some time and then looked at her and laughed aloud. He then hugged his wife. "It's okay. I'm sorry for having given you reasons to suspect me." Payal thanked her stars for having such a nice man in her life. She knew that she had almost spoiled things between them, and had it been someone else, she wouldn't have had a second chance. The next day, a lady came to meet Samir at his office. "Was she convinced?" she asked. Samir smiled slowly and pulled her into his arms. "Yes, my love, you did a great job. How could she suspect that the lady she had hired to keep an eye on me was the one giving her sleepless nights?" "Good," said Simran Raj Malhotra, smiling back at Samir. She silently thanked her lovely husband for convincing Payal to hire her. Had it been someone else in her place, it would have been showdown time for the two. On the other side of the town, a man and woman cozily sat by the beach. The waves splashed noisily against the rocks. The lady let out a throaty laugh. Her laughter acted like a drug. The man was besotted by her. Tonight she looked both beautiful and mysterious. The mystery behind her smoky eyes made her even more desirous. She had tied her hair up, exposing the delicate white curve of her neck. Her eyes sparkled like the diamonds he had gifted her a few seconds ago. He admired her for the 1,000th time. Not that she had the perfect body of his wife, but her face was to die for. It had the beauty of a woman and the innocence of a child. The dimples lit her face as she smiled. He liked diamonds and dimples on his women. It was a lethal combination. Payal smiled at her lover. Life was great. A doting husband and a lover who adored her. She gazed at the huge rock that rested proudly on her delicate fingers. "Darling, thanks for recommending your wife. She truly is a brilliant woman, though she could use some of that brilliance in sorting her own life. Poor lady has her eyes busy spying on others with husbands. And look what her own husband is up to." She laughed. "Not that I mind." Raj Malhotra laughed back. Payal had hired Simran only to ensure that she was still the only woman in Samir's life. The very thought of him choosing another woman over her had filled Payal with jealousy. She meant to stay married to Samir all her life. After all, husbands were for keeps and lovers were for diamonds to reap.